Raiders of the Lost Ark always felt like the perfect adventure movie. It has that old school spirit pumped full of energy, charisma and danger, and every time I watch it, it feels like I'm slipping back into that VHS era where movies took you on wild adventures and tomb raiding treasure hunts. Raiders feels like the kind of film you'd record off TV onto a tape that already had something else on it, scribble the name on the label with a dried out marker, and then rewatch until the picture started to ghost. Even then, it would still feel magical.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. A film from Steven Spielberg and George Lucas.
What I always loved was how it balances everything. Indiana Jones is rugged, smart and stubborn, but he's also constantly getting knocked around and barely making it out alive. Harrison Ford brings that perfect combination of toughness and vulnerability, like a classic adventure hero who could hold his own in a fight, but also knew when it was time to run for his life. He's one of the best examples of a badass action hero who doesn't need to be on steroids or carry a minigun in his pocket. He's bruised and dirty, half his shirt ripped, sweat rolling down his face, and somehow that makes him even cooler because he also frequently uses his wits and knowledge to get around and survive. Harrison Ford has that natural charisma where he can glare at someone, crack a sarcastic line, or swing his whip, and suddenly you're right there with him in the dust and chaos.
I don't know, I'm making this up as I go.
The movie pulls so much from the adventure movies of the 30s and 40s, but in my opinion it refines them into something that feels bigger and more cinematic without losing their spirit. The pacing is perfect. You get massive action sequences like the boulder chase or the truck fight, but also quieter moments that let the mystery sink in. Raiders gives you time to breathe between the punches and explosions, which I think is why it never feels overwhelming. It's confident enough to let the audience soak in the atmosphere and participate in trying to solve the mystery. The thing that sticks with me the most is the world itself. Raiders makes every location feel legendary. The jungles, the deserts, the ancient tombs and forgotten temples, everything feels so special. There is this element of wonder that was also present in the adventure movies of the 30s, 40s, 50s and 60s that this movie is heavily drawing from.
Jason and the Argonauts. The classic story of an epic voyage that has been told and retold since the birth of Western civilization.
It must have been the wind.
Here is the magnificent excitement of that legendary time when men like gods and gods like men lived and loved violently.
And the practical sets and effects are what makes this movie and the original trilogy so incredible to me. The traps feel like they could actually kill you, the snakes look like they could actually slither up your leg, and the Ark feels like an object full of danger even before anything supernatural happens.
dangerous. You go first.
The combination of real stunts and sets and grounded action gives the film a masterful quality I miss in a lot of modern blockbusters. I can practically smell the dust and feel the heat just watching it. Watching Raiders now feels like revisiting a relic of a certain kind of filmmaking. Before CGI took over everything, before every movie had to set up a cinematic universe, there were films like this that stood on their own and felt complete.
Killing Nazis.
Nazis. I hate these guys.
Raiders has plenty of sequels, although we all know that there are only 3 movies in the franchise, and everything after was the result of Marty McFly screwing over the timeline. But Raiders doesn't really need the other movies to feel whole. It begins with Indy already in motion and ends without trying to set up some sort of extended universe or franchise. To me, Raiders of the Lost Ark is tied to those late nights where you're flipping channels and land on something you didn't plan to watch but can't turn off. It's dusty, warm, mysterious, and exciting in a way that feels rare. Raiders is a good example of why adventure movies mattered in the first place, and honestly, I really wish this genre would make a comeback.
Get an indie video at your McDonald's today for just $5.99 each. The best price ever with the purchase of any large sandwich any time of day. Collect all 3. Just stop by McDonald's and ask for today's video.